So, we're back again. Wow. The last video really aggravated the fuck out of me. I'm really glad that I figured out the sweet spot of figuring out how to navigate storage space, but it was so frustrating. Oh my god. I am still cutting out pieces. I've just started the next day's video. I still need to edit the last one. I am going to find some humor in it and put it in the video. And then I'm going to put that shit out and move the fuck on. I have a couple of things I want to do on Procreate for the video, including making the thumbnail. And, yeah. What I was trying to say before I got cut off by my full storage in one of the clips is that I have several conditions that are disabling. I've already talked about the fact that I'm disabled. One of them is that I have fibroids. I also have diverticular disease, which is a gastrointestinal condition, and probably more that I just haven't gotten diagnosed, to be honest. Anyways, so I sometimes bloat severely, and it hurts a lot. And so that is the pain I've been struggling with the last couple of days, is pain from severe bloating. There's not too much that I can do about it, at least to my knowledge. Every time I see something flash on the screen, I panic, and I just realized it's because my hand is going over the light. I'm just like, like so triggered from the storage thing. Oh my god, that was awful. Anyways, I severely bloated. There might be more things that I can do to ease the pain and discomfort that I experience, but I don't know what they are because I don't be going to the doctor, which I am working on changing. So in the meantime, all I can do is periodic heating pad, trying not to eat too much dairy, which is hard because I fucking love dairy, and pain meds, and that's it. And then also all day yesterday, despite my best efforts, I had a headache. It just would not go away. So that's where I'm at. I don't even know what else to say right now. I mentioned at the end of the last video that I am working on Ben's new guitar, and so that's what I'm cutting out collage pieces for. My current collage process when I work with found images from like magazines and stuff is to find things that speak to me and not know why they speak to me until I actually have them in the context of a piece. So I flip through the magazines, I find something that speaks to me, I tear out the page, I cut it out, and I have like a stash or an archive or whatever that I can go through and know that I've already found these pieces that were, tickling my pickle. And so that is the approach that I am taking now. That way, even if I don't use it, which most of this I won't use because there is less surface area on a guitar than you may realize because of all of the pick guard and the knobs and blah, 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 blah. There's a lot. So there's not a lot of room to add decorative anything, really. So whatever I don't use, I will put towards something else. I'm thinking that the direction of another piece I've been working on may change now that I have finally released myself from the pressures that I've put on myself to make large traditional collages for the sake of maintaining the self-proclaimed moniker mixed media hoe, as if that's the only way that I'm allowed to be that. Like I made up this rule for myself, and then I kind of backed myself into a corner and wouldn't allow myself to grow, basically. So now that I've been released from that, and it was a goal that I had for a while to do larger scale traditional work that is 2D. That's something that I was working towards. But now that my work has changed this year, and especially with the crochet project, which I will explain, maybe I should do it in this video, has taken such like made such a pivotal effect on the way that I work, in a way that I wasn't prepared for, then I think that my goals need to change with it, and what it looks like to work large scale has to change with it. And it's been really hard for me to accept. Like I feel like I'm almost lying to myself or something, or lying to other people by calling myself mixed media hoe without having enough 2D mixed media pieces. It's so strange, but it's on brand if you know me. Like I call myself a thing, and that becomes like a standard. And now I have to operate in near perfect alignment, if not perfect alignment, with the standard I've placed on myself. And if I don't, I have now fucked up, and it means something about my character that I don't align well enough with something that I have called myself. It's really odd. I think it comes from Christianity. Honestly, I think it's a trauma response, I guess, rooted in my time as a Christian, especially in the last church that I went to, because of the fact that it was an evangelism church, like a church planting church. The goals, everything was about, making more disciples. So I had a lot of hang-ups and fears about Ben's loud ass sneeze. I had a lot of hang-ups and fears as a Christian, especially in that church, about not being a good enough Christian, because I knew that the most Christians in America is on some bullshit. I knew that. I knew most of them is lying. I knew most of them aren't loving. Most of them aren't kind. Most of them get on people's nerves. Most of them are overbearing. Most of them are arrogant. Like, I knew all of that. And so I want, and I knew that that was antithetical to the identity of Christ. And so I was like, I don't want to be this poor representation of Christ, trying to bring in people into the body of Christ. And like, why would they want to come? I knew that. The fact in hindsight that, as I mentioned in the two videos ago, when I tell the whole story of my deconstruction journey and how it's affected my art and blah blah blah, the fact that I wasn't aware that abuse is common in the church, despite being so deeply, keenly aware of the fact that Christians are overwhelmingly the worst representatives of Christ that you could possibly imagine. I'm like, I know that they suck, but like, I don't think people is being abused though. Like, it never crossed my mind that those two things would go together. I don't know why. I don't know. So I think it affects my my willingness to give myself the grace to change and grow. I think that that's what that looks like for me in a lot of ways. Like, for example, since I'm already almost at 15 minutes, for example, I was a vegetarian for a really long time. And then I discovered that I had diverticulitis, and I was having a flare-up. That's how I got diagnosed. And the diet for going through a flare-up is to eat super low fiber. And I realized that I didn't know how to eat as a low fiber as a vegetarian. Because as a vegetarian, a lot of the food is high fiber. How is a bitch to eat if I can only eat low fiber until I am over this flare-up? And I had no choice but to start eating fish. And so instead of being like, okay, well, the only way that I can navigate this is to eat fish, I'll just eat fish for a while and then switch back later, and I can still just be a vegetarian, and I have to have grace for myself and my body and my capacity and blah blah blah. I was like, I'm a pescatarian now. I genuinely believed that I was not allowed to still just be a vegetarian when I had eaten fish, even though it was not by choice. It's not the first time either that I had a situation like that with food around vegetarianism. I also had another experience where I was broke as fuck. I didn't know how I was going to eat that day. I was at work. I worked with a lot of really lovely Puerto Ricans, and some of them brought in some food. And I had gone back to being a vegetarian at that point. And some of them brought in some food. And there was seafood. And I'm broke and hungry. And I was like, you can starve, or you can eat them shrimp. So I ate the shrimp. And I'm like, well, not a vegetarian anymore. Instead of just being like, I'm starving and I'm eating. They bought in Puerto Rican food. It has shrimp in it. I'm broke and hungry. So naturally, you eat because you're desperate. Like, it was that or go hungry, literally. And I couldn't just let that be it. So then I don't count anymore as a vegetarian. I can be quite extremist that way. So anyway, all that to say that with the plus side of the fact that there's a lot of these pieces I'm not going to use, I can then pivot, save them, and revisit this piece that I've been working on and trying to force myself to make large scale when it doesn't want to be. It just doesn't want to be. And that has to be okay. I've managed to yap for 15 minutes, barely trying. I love it here. And no storage notice. Cue the click track. If you know, you know. If you don't, I'm not explaining. Bye!